Hello, my friends. Jacob's here one more time. Thank you for press and play to spend a little time with me with what's going to probably be an embarrassing moment for me. A big-time embarrassing moment, which sadly enough held a little bit of shame to it. I felt a lot of shame for it, and I really shouldn't have, because, when people are taken advantage of and people are lied to and they're strung along, you feel foolish afterwards, Everybody has the potential of falling for things that sound too good to be true. I was scammed recently, and in a pretty heartbreaking way, because you know me on the channel, I'm very into things happening a certain way. I think certain numbers are important. I think certain times are important. I think, I like to see the beautiful poetry and the things that happen in life. And I've witnessed so many amazing things that shouldn't have happened to begin with in my life, that it isn't out of the realm of possibility that something that I thought was going to be a reality and turned out, I believe, is 100% not a reality. And I was moments away from being taken advantage of in such a terrible way. And it was devastating, and I kind of kept it to my chest for a long time. I got excited about something. Now, you know that for a long time I said 2025 was going to be a big year for my novel, The Calling. And if you haven't read it yet, you would know why, because it's just this it's an amazing story. There's more to it than just coming of age story spiritually, and more than just being one of the best suspenseful thrillers you'll get. It's also been kind of the work of my life. It's been kind of the motivating force for everything. Everything that I built, from my website to my YouTube channel to everything else, kind of, it kind of was in support of this novel, which became an Amazon #1 bestseller after many, many years of sitting on the shelf and me re-releasing. I've witnessed a lot of miracles in my life. I've had some amazing things. I came from nothing. My mother was 19 years of age. We were poor. I never met my father. I lived with my grandparents for a while. I grew up in a wealthy town, very, very, first one in my family to go to college, first one in my family really to own a home, besides, my grandfather, who got it right out of the World War II when they were giving away the houses for very, very inexpensive. Went on to become the head writer for World Wrestling Federation before it became WWE. Then I went on to do my own show called Thunderbox. Then I went on to what I thought was going to be Inspiring the World for Christ, where I was the head writer for what is now probably the largest Christian television network in the world, Daystar, which you probably remember me talking about because they've been in the news. God's brought me through some amazing things, and brought me to that mattress store where I was selling mattresses. And I started my YouTube channel to build an audience. And then the audience became so great that when the virus of the crown hit and they were going to mandate certain things, I said goodbye, and I made this, a full-time gig. It wasn't very long before, the powers that be, or whatever, God's in charge of everything, that the channel kind of was, stifled and slowed down. And no matter how hard I tried, I just couldn't, I just couldn't seem to get it to a place where it could be sustainable for my family. A lot of people watch these videos and they probably think that things are great, but you got to realize that a lot of people don't even pay for ads. They pay for YouTube without ads. So any kind of money that you make here, it's dramatically decreased. Not to mention, if people don't share the videos, if more people don't watch the videos, if more people don't engage with the videos, or Super Chat, or Patreon, or PayPal, it's not an easy thing to do, which is why I went back to selling mattresses, because God gave me this beautiful opportunity to come back and do what I love doing, connecting with people, supporting people, helping people, and being given an opportunity to continue to do videos like this. I believed that when I went back to the beginning, that I would get some kind of a movie deal for my novel. Because I hinted about it. I was really excited about it. I thought, this is what's going to happen. My second day at my new job, when I was in training, I got a random email, and I get a lot of emails. I got an email from an agent in the city, an agency that I hadn't heard of. I had to look it up. It wasn't like a top tier agency or anything else, but it seemed pretty impressive. But I got my radar up all the time. I'm always like, there's something going on, everything, because I get a lot of people reaching out to me. Listen, I have a very successful YouTube channel. From the outside of it, you look at it, you think, okay, the book has like I think it's like 1,100 5-star reviews. People love my novel. If more people got my novel and shared my novel, it would easily become a major motion picture, which, by the way, Christmas is coming. If you want to support the channel, that's one way you can do it. Get it on Amazon. So I'm back to the beginning, and I'm in training, and I get this email, and it's from an agency. Our agency, your book was submitted to our agency. It made it through the process, everything else. We'd like to talk to you. So, of course, I reach out thinking, with my radar up, this is probably nothing because it sounds exciting, and so I reached out. And I talked to the guy, and the guy, he's like, oh, can you send me the manuscript so that I can personally do it? I'm the assistant of so-and-so, and I'd like to give it a look. So I'm like, well, you have Amazon, buy yourself a copy. I'm like, if this is a real deal, you could buy yourself a copy. Guy laughs. And a week later, I get a call from him, and he wants to go over the book, and he broke down the book. So it was clear that he read the book. It was clear that he understood the book, and it was clear he knew what I wanted to hear. But then he said, oh, but I got bad news. Our agency doesn't have a film department, and reading this, it really deserves to be a film. That's what everybody says about The Calling. Everybody says this. So what we're going to do is here, I'm going to give you the number of my good friend, and he used Jess Siegler, he's like the senior agent over at an agency called Folio. And I look him up, and I'm like, he was like a head at Warner Brothers. He was a head here. He was kind of a big name, but not too big that I would have heard of him, but big enough to be pretty impressed. So I speak to him, and he was kind of standoffish the first time, and he said to me, he says, well, when I learned that you were a YouTuber, and I was really, not too interested in looking at this, but then I watched a couple of your shows, once again, kind of saying what I needed to hear. And he said, oh, I realized that, there's a lot more that you have to offer. So I want to read the book. And he said, give me some time. I'm going to look at it. I'm going to take it away with me. We're going on vacation, and then I'm going to get back to you. Took a couple of weeks. He gets back to me. This is the thing. These are different people, and they're operating in such a clever way. And he calls me back and he says, I want to represent you. So I'm like, great, that's awesome. I said, I'll come into the city and we can sign things up. And he said, well, no, let's first see, what kind of traction we get before you come into the city and we sign anything. I'm just going to put some feelers out and we'll see what happens. So I'm starting to get excited. I'm like, you see, Danielle, I tell Danielle, I said, I told you I was going to hear about the book the instant I get back to work. I told you. God is finally honoring the work that I do. I was excited. I was like, because if an agent could just get it, if it could just get to the right people and they could read this, of course they would see that this needs to be a movie. And the irony is, it's not really about the money so much for me, it is actually about the message and the story. And the idea that at the end of this novel, when you're done reading this novel, you want to have more. You want to know more. You want to ask God for the truth no matter what the cost. Because the novel, that's the whole point. It was kind of like me, in a clever way, sharing my spiritual journey through the lens of this really awesome supernatural thriller that I know today the world needs, which is something they ended up telling me. Ironically enough.
Hi Jacob, this is Jess. Anyway, alright, just to let you know that I did, started my representation in your book. I did crafted my career letter and will be sending, an endorsement or increase to film production company.
So he gets back to me and he says, I want to represent you. So I'm like, good. So week goes by, 2 weeks go by, I get a call from him. He says, I got bad news, Jacob. The, so-and-so, they passed. And he mentioned like, a reputable place. A place that I think to myself, they probably wouldn't do this book anyway because it's more like a thrill. They're more like an art house studio. And he says, but we're going to keep trying and we'll see. You see, that's pulls you into the story because it seems so believable, right? Now, this is over a span of like a couple of months that all of this happens. Then I finally get a call and he says, hey, I got good news. Somebody's interested. I want you to stay by your phone.
Hey, Jacob, Jess here. Anyway, production company just called me that they tried to reach out to you, but however, you did not answer it. Area code 424. It is Joseph Machachek, president of acquisition deal from a production company. So yeah, I'll give you a call back. Because I need to, set a schedule for both of you. All right. We don't want to waste this one-time opportunity, and they are really interested in your book. So keep your lines open. All right. So give me a call back.
Because you're going to get a call from, I believe his name is, and it gives me the name. And I looked the name up. It's Joseph Matukowicz, who's one of the co-chairs of Sony. Yeah, that's right. At that point, I should have been like, okay, this is way too good to be true. But I'm thinking maybe it's a possibility. He was a head of the studio over there. They maybe knew each other. Bop, bop, bop. It's a possibility, right? So I might as well hear him out. So I talked to him. And then he says, oh, I love the pitch. I love the this. I love the that. Everything that, the agent sent over. And they're using all the Hollywood jargon, right? Stuff that sounds reasonable. And he said, well, I'm going to read it. I'm going to let you know. So he gets back to me. He says, we got to do this. He says, I did The Man Called Otto. And he was trying to tell me, all of the benefits that this could be and how much money. And he kept going with the money. And I kept explaining to him, I wasn't looking for like a big payday. I just really wanted to see this novel on the big screen. I wanted to see it. I wanted to see what God could do with this story that he put in my heart. So he tells me, oh, this is what's going to happen. Now I'm telling Danielle. Now, Danielle's usually a good judge. So I'm showing her all the emails. You look at these emails, you see all this stuff you put out, you talk to him on the phone, and it's believable. Then he calls me up and he says, this is it. Okay, I want to do business with you. But, we have to have a meeting with the board. They approve all the new projects. And he goes, there's 5 board members. And I'm thinking 5 smooth stones, right? Of course, everything in my mind is going to, oh, the Lord is working a miracle here. I'm so excited. Telling you what they want you to hear. Obviously, these people did some research. Obviously, they knew about my novel. Obviously, they knew about my YouTube channel. And obviously, as you're going to see, they must have known about me being into like times and numbers and dates. Because ironically enough, I finally got this letter of intent. Take a look at that right there. From Stage 6 Films of all places. Look at the time that the email was sent to me. 7/11. And I'm going, oh my God, this is 7/11 from heaven. The floodgates are opening. The Lord is I'm going to be able to finally take my family on a vacation after how many years, right? We're going to be able to pay off the roof and to this and to that. The world is going to finally know this great work that God put into my heart. So excited. Meanwhile, I don't quit my job because I think that my job is a wonderful thing. I'm excited to be there. And I'm like, sometimes you never know how things go. So I never told any of you. I was getting excited. I even put together a video because I was so excited about what God was about to do and how I was going to prove God to all of you again as if God needs proof. Take a look.
Proof. You say you want proof. Old things are falling away. Don't return to the beggarly fears and worries of yesterday. Where once you may have shouted and pouted from the rooftops below into the heavens, now you must grow. Proof. You say you want proof. It wouldn't matter if one be raised from the dead. It's been 18 years of proof and you're still aloof, pointing fingers at others and being rude, denying God's hand in a land so corrupt they can't even understand that nothing happens outside of God's plan. tribulation comes true. Will you believe, will you receive and find relief? Will you pray and will you say, teach me and lead me and begin to perceive? Or will you cause others to bleed? Because you have the need to be God yourself. Will you choose heaven or continue to rule in hell? If you say you want proof, then watch me, and if you must mock me, but don't try to stop me, because old things have passed away. It's new day. Can't you feel it? It's time to seal it. So listen closely to the words I say. I'm about to prove God again in the coming days. And it's going to slay that dragon of doubt. Hate and desire for cloud has turned your blue skies gray. If you want proof, you say. Well, proof is coming your way. Coming today. If you want proof, you say. Well, proof is coming your way. Proof is coming today. Well, proof is coming today.
So now I know that the board is looking at it. I know that they have this weekend where they're going to be thinking about it. And then I know that the next week that I'm going to get the news, right? Just so happens that the next week falls on my daughter's birthday, September 11th. September 11th, I woke up that morning and I'm like, I bet you there's going to be a fig on my tree. You know, my tree this year, my fig tree, had more figs than ever before. It was big, it was lush, it was amazing. I was eating figs like every day. It was an amazing thing. Every day I'd plop 3 brand new figs off the tree that were beautiful. But the first fig that came out was on September 11th, my daughter's birthday. I was so excited because we were going to take everybody to, we're out for my daughter's birthday. It was going to be the last time we all go out because everything's gotten so expensive. We're going to go to the Cheesecake Factory. I was excited about that. We're driving, not even thinking about, what the board's going to say and all this stuff. And we're driving and we're on our way there on September 11th. Now, here's the irony. My novel starts with September 10th. That's how my novel starts. Those are the first 2 words of my novel, September 10th. So as I'm pulling up to the Cheesecake Factory for my daughter's 22nd, the Tav, the 22nd birthday, her 22nd birthday, my daughter who I love so much, Shiloh. As we're pulling into the Cheesecake Factory, my phone rings and it reads Sony Pictures, right? That's the way I put it in. It wasn't coming from Sony Pictures. It was coming from whoever this guy was. I answer the phone and he tells me, we had the meeting, we sat down and we discussed, and he explained things to me, and he went and he said that never in the history of Sony Pictures, of him being the head, the co-chair of Sony Pictures, have all of, the board members agreed on a project. All 5 voted yes. And he said, you only needed 2 board members plus me, and you already had me. So he got me so excited. And I was like, 5 out of 5. I was so excited. It happened. He said, we met yesterday. And I'm going, September 10th? And he's like, yes, that's when we met. Those are the first 2 words of my novel. So of course, how could it not be God? In my head, I'm thinking. It's funny. Meanwhile, we're all excited because this would, clearly change our lives. And as the week went by after that moment where Danielle actually whipped out the phone and started recording it, they were saying the world needs this, especially after what happened to Charlie, because this was coming on the heels of that. He says the world needs it. Everybody know a book that will unite people universally, was saying everything that I believed this novel to be. Everything. And I was so excited. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And I'm like, oh, this is great. I'm like, this is my daughter's birthday. And the novel starts with something. They must have known that. They must have known that I started seeing these little things. Or it's God's way of saying, you know what? This world, Jesus said, this is not my world. I'm not of it. You know, this simulacrum or the simulation or this matrix or whatever this fallen place is, that is not our home, because our eternal resting place is in the kingdom of God with Christ, with God. We're seated in heavenly places already. In this world, they can trick you. Get your hopes up to smash them. Because, I was very happy. The Lord has blessed me with so much. I've done so many things. I've had so many amazing things happen that it's not without the realm of possibility. This is the last thing that I believe is going to fall. This is the last thing that I believe is going to happen. Why wouldn't it happen? Especially when I said, for how long 2025 was the year. Meanwhile, now we're coming to a close. Something did happen with the novel, but only in my imagination.
Just the United States, not just the United States. Our neighbors, Canada, Mexico, our allies across, the Atlantic, in the Middle East, like Israel,
right?
Greece, all those other NATO countries, the Christian countries. So
yeah. That's the vision, that's the vision. The idea is that it's supposed, when I wrote it, I said that's the point. It was supposed to do this. I just, just to have, God bring it to fruition is kind of, it's a good day.
It is. And I just want to say, congratulations in advance. We are proceeding to the final stages. I will have to send you an agreement, Jake. Okay?
Yeah, of course.
So I'll send you an email with Jess as well. I'll copy Jess. It's going to be a pre-contract, so it's a pre-agreement or an option agreement. So it will state, it's pretty short, maybe around 4-5 pages short.
Okay.
It's not the full contract yet, because we can't, and I hope you understand, we can't give out the full contract without full requirements and full collection of the budget. So,
right.
I'm going to speak to the investors.
Okay.
These investors are going to be funding at least 60%, between 60 and 70% of the budget of the film.
Wow.
You're actually aiming at 20 million. Okay.
Wow. For the budget. Wow. That'd be
correct.
So I'm excited about this. My family's excited about this. We're all kind of in awe about the whole thing. My mother, who's very clever, she's like, yeah, well, we'll see. That's the way my mom is. She was right, too. So then about a week passes by, then another week passes by, then they reach out to me again. They're like, here's the game plan. This is what we need. Clearly we need to go get funding now. We need to secure funding. We only have this much. We need to go to this. We're going to go to this studio, and this is what we need. We need a Hollywood screenplay. They already knew I didn't have one. So we're going to have to, hire somebody and pay somebody and that's when it clicked. They're going to ask me to pony up some money or something to get this screenplay written. It clicked at that moment in time. So then I'm like, I told him, I said, look, I want to be very, very clear. I'm not giving you a nickel. I don't even have a nickel. Okay. I'm working 2 jobs just so that I can, because I have 4 children and we're living in New York, one of the most, just the ridiculously expensive places. My taxes just went up like another couple of grand. It's ridiculously expensive here, but we do love Strong Island. Strong Island is like an amazing place. Then I tell Danielle and I think to myself, well, you know what? Let me go over and let me look at all of this stuff again. And I notice one of the email addresses is wrong. Then I remember, they gave me this phone instead of that phone. So then I start programming like, hey, let's do a Zoom. Oh, well, no, we can't do that because the last time we did that with a client, they recorded it and became a thing. I'm like, oh, okay. I'll just call you at your office when you in. I'm in tomorrow. I call the office. You need an extension. So I say, hey, what's your extension? Oh, no, I'm away on this. It was like one excuse after another excuse after another excuse. And it became very, very clear that this was 100% a scam. That if I wasn't a little clever, like a little clever, because, I wanted it so bad that if it wasn't for the fact that I didn't have the money to be paying for it, like if I had the money laying around somewhere, I would have looked at it as an investment. Oh, I'll pay somebody to do the, and ooh, that would be great. Broke my heart. Broke my heart. And because I told my mother about it and I was explaining to her, I was like, oh, you're going to finally not have to struggle, right? I told my wife, said, fine, I'm going to take everybody, we'll do a family vacation, all of these things. Because, I've been doing TV, I've been doing all this. I never made a lot of money. When I was with WWE, I was making, I think at the height of me working there was $125,000, which back then for my age was great. Never made a ton of money. Never, always, because I made a deal with God. It's like, just give me a little bit more than I need. I live in an amazing home that is way more expensive than I got, but it was in foreclosure. God's blessed me every step of the way. But I was like, for a second, I was thinking, oh my goodness, I can breathe. Because you know what it's like when you have so much. I have 4 children, one that's still in college, one that's in graduate school, one that's going to be going to college soon, and we live in New York, and it's an expensive place to be. This is a dream come true, a vision come true. God, I can't wait to tell everybody about it. I'll tell everybody. Tell me when I can let my audience know, because I've been saying this was going to happen for a long time. I even said I went back to work selling mattresses. You may not know this, just recently. And I told my wife, I said, you watch, something's going to happen with the book, because I said 2025 is the year. And so I have all of these documented videos that I've done over the last couple of years where, 4 years ago, I said 2025. And then here we are, Come on. Thank you, Lord.
I would say you do have prophetic skill, Jake.
Perhaps. And now with the advent of you can block ads and everything else, YouTube is just not what it is. But it never was for me. It never was a place to be making money. It was always a place to support this to begin with. And then for me to encourage all of you, which over the years, how many millions of people. I mean, it's an amazing gift that I've been given to be here. So I don't want to come on here and cry and everything else. I did cry. I did, when I was working alone in the mattress store. And I said to the Lord, I said, I've never been mad at God. I wasn't mad at God for this. Because it was a lesson that I learned, and I realized this is going to be a great video for any author out there who has an independent work, that maybe has a moderate size audience that can be exploited. They do a little bit of research. It was a team. I talked to 3 different people. It was a team. It was well orchestrated. They always had an answer for something. And to this day, the joke is, maybe it's still real. Because I decided that I was going to string them along and I was going to do this whole thing and try to expose them or whatever. But then I realized I don't have time for that. I don't want to do that. I just let them know that they shouldn't do this again, and that I know that there'll be consequences for it spiritually. Because if you're doing the right thing and people take advantage of you, believe me, God will have them pay a price for it that they will learn from. And I made it very, very clear that every issue that stems from this conversation that I sent out to this so-called agent. By the way, I reached out to the agency. I said, oh, this is what's happening. Nobody got back to me. At one point, I was thinking of reaching out to the old FBI and because I thought, oh, it would make great content. I'll do a sting operation. And then I was like, who am I kidding? It's I'm not I'm no undercover agent, Got to go sell the mattresses after I'm done taping this. Broke my heart because I was but then I have to remember every other amazing thing that God's done in my life that just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. And I don't need to prove God. That's the amazing thing, because that's what Satan wants to do. He says, if you're really the Son of God, do this, do that, turn this stone into bread. Throw yourself from the highest point. The angels, they won't let you dash a foot. That's what the angel will do. You really Son of God, prove to everybody. Get your movie made. Get your movie made. Show everybody that it's the best book ever. Which, by the way, I'm going to read. I'm going to do a little like this. I didn't look. See? Didn't look. I'm just going to point. I'm going to read. Felicia kneels at his feet and rests her hands on the arms of his wheelchair to talk to him. Her position seems like the most natural thing in the world. You don't talk like any 18-year-old I've ever met, Thomas," she says as she looks up at him curiously. A glow surrounds his head. The sun creates it. From where she kneels, it looks almost like a halo that reaches the heavens. Thomas says, "People are lost today, Doctor." He looks down at her. They need someone to lead them back home. A chill races up Felicia's neck. His last words snap her out of her dream-like trance. She pulls her hands away from him and leaps to her feet. "People are lost today, Doctor." That's what Thomas says. He needs someone to lead them. There's a line in this novel that I wrote that as man has been lost in the trees of their imagination, so God will use my words to lead them back out. Something like that. You know, I hope that you get a copy of the novel. I hope that if you're an author and that you're excited about things, and then you get a random email or you get a random call from somebody, that you double, triple, and quadruple check. If I was a different person, I mean, this was going on for months. And it really was heartbreaking. And it was a wake-up call. But I hope that it's a lesson for all of you. Because it's not going to stop me from dreaming. It's not going to stop me from saying that, you know, one day I'm going to get an email from someone that really does want to turn this into a movie. Or one day maybe I'll just make it a movie myself. Who knows? With faith, all things are possible. And so I did get scammed. And I did feel shame. And I looked foolish to my wife's family and to my family. In my eyes, they all understood. They all felt bad. Her father was, because she loves my novel, her father, when he was in the hospital and we were taking care of, he was bragging, my son-in-law just got a movie deal. My son. And then you find out it's not, none of it's real. You know, none of it's real. It could be a bummer. It could be a bummer. But to me, it's just more ways for me to show you the wounds I received in the house of people that I care about. Because, you know, I even tried to minister to these people. And if it turns out to be true, I'll let you know, but I highly doubt it. In any event, do me a favor, will you? If you want to support the channel, if anything that I've done has made a difference in your life, will you please hit the link in the description. Go down, get a copy of the coin link. Buy a copy for somebody else. Leave me a review. Listen, reviews are the most important thing. If you can leave me a review on Amazon, just saying that the calling meant something to you, give it 5 stars. I'm grateful for it. It really, if it wasn't for this novel, I wouldn't have the YouTube channel. I wouldn't know all of you, and I wouldn't be saying hi to all of you in the comments section. I look forward to hearing from you. If you want to get some of the merch, you know where to go. Links in the description. If you want to go to PayPal, you want to join me on Patreon, where we're going to be doing our Zoom in just another couple of weeks. Let's get together. Let's build something. Let's do something together. And let's not let people that are trying to take advantage of us get us down. Instead, let it encourage us. And just because things look perfect, 7-Eleven on September 10th, 222, all of that stuff doesn't mean necessarily that it's always going to be true. Don't let the enemy fool you, you know? Let God be true and every man a liar. All right, I love each and every one of you. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.